are 4 months away from the end of the year. Can you believe how the days have gone by? Many thought COVID-19 would have been fading out by now, but it is still a major concern for not only Jamaica, but people across the globe. So let us all play our part to achieve a significant decline in the number of new cases and hospitalizations, which will also reduce our death toll. You are tuned in to Jamaica Magazine. Welcome. I am Adrian Atkinson. On the show today, we help you to manage your solid waste like a professional. And we also talk money matters with tips to maintain a good budget and letting your savings earn for you. But first, the latest news.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, September 2, 2021. No movement days to contain the spread of COVID-19 and reduce the number of new cases have been extended for 5 additional days. The last of the initial 7-day period would have ended on Sunday, September 5. However, this will continue into Monday and Tuesday, September 6 and 7, as well as the following Sunday through to Tuesday, September 12, 13 and 14. The update was provided by Prime Minister Andrew Holness during a virtual press briefing last evening. The curfew hours from Wednesdays to Fridays remain at 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. the following day. However, it will begin at 6 p.m. on Saturdays and continue through the no-movement days, ending at 5 a.m. on Wednesday.
To allow persons to prepare for the 3 consecutive no-movement days on Friday, September 3 and on Friday, September 10, 2021, workplaces, businesses will be required to close at midday. The list of workplaces and businesses which will not have to close at midday remains the same as the last 2 weeks of no movement days.
Selected vaccination sites will open on movement days. Prime Minister Holness noted that the containment measure is beginning to reap success as the COVID-19 reproductive rate, which was at 1.4 2 weeks ago, is now down to 1.1.
What it shows is that the tighter measures are starting to show some results. It is starting to bend the curve. However, the R0 is still higher than we need it to be. It is still above 1. And when it is above 1, it means one infected person with it will infect more than one. And so your numbers could still rise exponentially.
As the government looks to roll out its COVID-19 vaccine awareness campaign at the community level, approximately 40 wardens will be deployed across all constituencies. The move is in a bid to get more persons to take the vaccine. This was disclosed by Prime Minister Andrew Holness during a tour of a vaccination blitz site in St. Thomas yesterday.
However, those 40 persons must be vaccinated themselves. They must be vaccinated themselves. Their role will be to go out into the communities. The Ministry of Health will provide them with leaflets and information, and they will go out into the nooks and crannies, into all the communities in Jamaica, give out this information. They will canvass persons who want to take the vaccines. They will work with their member of parliament and other community leaders to make arrangements to move people from where they are to the vaccine centers and to generally build community support for the vaccination.
Prime Minister Holness says with approximately 13% of the country's population having received only 1 dose of the vaccine, Jamaica is not in a secured position against the adverse effects of the virus. He says this is also far below the targeted 65% for herd immunity, which will be increased given the unexpected strains.
So right now, the national priority is to get every Jamaican vaccinated. And that is our objective. So we are engaging the private sector, we are engaging the churches, we are engaging civil society, and we are trying to mobilize as many leaders, opinion leaders as possible to increase the acceptance and take-up of vaccines.
Meanwhile, additional oxygen concentrators are being procured to ramp up the oxygen supply across the healthcare sector. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says this procurement is in addition to that of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, as well as support from the diaspora.
We are on that path in terms of increasing the number of oxygen concentrators. I received a report from the CMO of what is on order, what they have spec'd out to go into procurement. And I personally, through sources overseas, working through our ambassador and through our consul general in New York, we have, I would say at this point, secured some close to 80, 90 oxygen concentrators. But the government is working behind the scenes with our partners to ensure that we can have a more robust solution.
Mr. Holness says these oxygen concentrators will help to alleviate oxygen shortage in the health system for those persons who are experiencing mild COVID-19 symptoms. A recent shipment of desperately needed bulk oxygen arrived on the island on Monday. And finally, the Agriculture Ministry, along with the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, will be crafting a comprehensive island-wide recovery program to assist farmers with input and planting material amidst damages experienced from recent rainfall. The announcement was made by Portfolio Minister Floyd Green yesterday during a farm tour of Clarendon and St. Anne. It comes on the heels of tropical storms Grace and Ida, which caused extensive damage to the sector.
The RADA team is also out working with them in terms of the techniques at salvaging. So we are helping the farmers to cut their loss as much as possible, as we will also help them to rebuild.
Minister Green says significant loss were mainly to vegetables such as cabbage and lettuce, banana, plantain and yam. During the tour, he used the opportunity to urge farmers to sign up for the GK Crop Insurance Scheme, which provides protection against natural disaster.
Farmers can contact GK Insurance. They can go to the RADA offices as well, and the RADA team will walk them through. And also our fishers, you can go to National Fisheries Authority, and it is the GK Weather Protect Insurance Scheme. Again, it protects against rain, wind and drought.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
I'm saying to every single Jamaican, you will decide how this pandemic ends. If you wear your mask, if you maintain the physical distance, and if you decide to take the vaccines when it is your time, the pandemic will end. But if in frustration or just ignorance, we do not take responsibility, then the pandemic could end badly, including the loss of more lives.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Did you know that on average, this little island produces over 8,000 tons of solid waste per day? It's not a good look. So today we're helping you identify how to manage the different types of solid waste, like a pro.
Every single day, every living thing creates waste. What's waste? It's any substance that we discard of or throw out after it has served its primary purpose. For example, after having the water in this bottle, I no longer need it, so the bottle becomes waste. Here in Jamaica, we create an average of over 8,000 tons of solid waste per day.
We, from time to time, do what we call garbage characterization survey. This is where we actually go island-wide and take samples of the garbage and look at what make up the garbage, what's the composition of the garbage.
Regardless of what makes up your garbage, if you don't dispose of them correctly, we'll contribute to air and water pollution, flooding and diseases while influencing climate change. That's why today we'll look at the different types of waste and the best ways to dispose of them. Well, lunch was good. Sorry you missed it, but I want to point out how much waste I created from just 30 minutes of eating. I have this empty water bottle, well, almost empty, a lunch box. I have napkins, a fork, and I have some leftovers. So far, I've created organic, recyclable, and solid waste. Other types of waste include hazardous and liquid. Let's go ahead and break them down while looking on how to dispose of each. Let's start with organic waste. Organic waste is any material that is biodegradable and comes from either a plant or an animal. Examples include paper, leftover food, leaves, branches, and livestock manure. Over time, organic waste eventually breaks down into fertilizer, but not if it goes to the landfill. That's not good. There it will produce methane, and high levels of methane can reduce the amount of oxygen in the air, which will affect our breathing. So, where should it go? Organic waste shouldn't go into your bin. Take it round a back and start a composting heap.
We believe that composting provides an excellent opportunity.
Composting is rather simple. Cut the bottom from a container and place it directly on the ground in a cool or shaded location in your backyard.
First, we start with some grass from the lawn. I have some cardboard that I bought some things at the store and I got. This is cardboard. So I just cut it up and I throw it in.
Then add wood chips, fruits and vegetable waste, and animal waste from your cows or goats.
You need moisture, you need air.
Keep your compost moist and stir it regularly.
More.
We would produce the best soil nutrients for our flower beds, our farms, our little kitchen gardens. We will then be cutting back on expensive buying fertilizer.
Liquid waste includes fluids such as domestic wastewater, sewage, processed water, grease, or other liquids. Wastewater from doing the dishes, laundry, and showering are considered grey water and can be used in your garden. Hazardous waste can be liquid or solid. It includes all types of rubbish that are flammable, toxic, corrosive, and reactive. First things first, don't throw hazardous waste, whether liquid or solid, in your bin. Follow the labels on hazardous products for disposal instructions and buy the exact amount that you need. So if you use all of it, you really don't have any waste. You can flush some hazardous household wastes followed by plenty of water. This only applies though to hazardous household waste that can be neutralized by water. And when in doubt, reach out to the NSWMA. Solid waste is any tangible item that has already served its primary purpose and is discarded by individuals. This type of waste is commonly broken down into plastic, paper, metals, tins, ceramics, and glass. The good news is that most of the solid waste we create are recyclable and compostable. That's another reason it's important to separate your garbage. This way, you can create a compost heap with your solid organic waste and recycle bottles, furniture, and other solid waste. For those in terrible condition, drop them in your Jomadi gates and the NSWMA will be there on the double for them. And if you don't have a drum, the NSWMA will provide one under its Jomadi Gate initiative.
So we are issuing you with your own drums. So you have control over your receptacles, don't it? So your garbage don't have to be littered all over the place.
Recyclable waste refers to all the items we can convert into products that are useful. These include my water bottle, solid items such as paper, metals, furniture, and organic waste. Well, you don't really dispose of recyclable waste. At least, you shouldn't. Reusing or upscaling is the way to go. We're all responsible for the waste we create, And by separating them and practicing proper waste disposal, we'll create a beautiful, safe, and healthy environment, doing our part to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
For those of us who do not believe that COVID is real and that it is here, have you been to one of those hospitals where the wards are overflowing with patients who are trying to breathe and talk at the same time, but find it so impossible to do so? Or have you seen someone die in front of you, trying to make the next breath to stay alive? So my fellow Jamaicans and colleagues, whether you believe it or not, COVID is real. So I implore you, social distance. Wash your hands, wear your mask, sanitize. Along with that, we need to keep our immune system nice and healthy, so you drink lots of water, eat your fruits and vegetables. But whether we believe it or not, COVID is here, it is here to stay, it's going to be the new norm. And remember, when you behave irresponsible, you expose all of us. So do the responsible thing.
Up next, how to manage your budget and allow your money to earn while you save.
My presentation today is on getting the best bang for your budget. Budgeting, simply defined, is creating a plan to spend your money. Good budgeting, however, is ensuring that you're spending less than you earn. I know budgeting can be hard. You make a budget and you find it difficult to stick to it, but it's one of the best ways to keep track of where your money is going every month, and then you can identify what changes you need to make in order to reach your financial goals. When making your budget should include things like your needs, your wants, your savings, your investments, and your emergency fund. So typically what we're saying is that your money monthly should be going towards savings, your bills and utilities, your insurance, and your emergency fund. You also would want to ensure that when you're making your budget, you give every dollar a job and keep track of your spending. Keep a financial journal if necessary. This will help to keep you on track, and you can record and identify the things that you're actually spending your money on. So, one of the first things you'd want to do when you're creating your budget is create a financial plan, and it will help you to map out the actions that you need to take towards achieving these goals. And please ensure that you put your short-term as well as your long-term goals in your financial plan. After you've created your financial plan, then you'd want to identify all your streams of income. Your streams of income is not only your 9 to 5, and that's a mistake that a lot of us make. What about your other passive incomes? What about the earnings you make from your skills? You might be getting an inheritance. You might be getting an annuity. You might be the type of person to buy and sell things. You have to account for every single dollar you make. And likewise, if you're going to account for all your earnings, you'll also have to account for all your monthly expenses. And your monthly expenses is not only your utility bills. A lot of times we neglect to include the other things that we have to spend on. Sometimes the simple things like our personal care, your groceries, your hair care, your wants. Some of us have things that we have to do to maintain our mental health. Include those things in your budget. All things must be accounted for, so you identify where all your income is coming from and you identify all your expenses. So now, let's uncover some of those bad financial habits that are wrecking our financial future. And while it's easy to identify some of our big expenditures, sometimes it's uncovering some of those smaller, more sneakier daily expenses that will save you a lot of money in the long run. My first question to you is, are you paying your bills on time? Paying your bill late comes with penalty fees, and these fees add up. Implementing the right debt payoff strategy, you can pay off your debt quickly, end up saving more, and you end up having more money towards your other financial goals. Prioritize paying off your debts. Things that we tend to let slip through as well. Most banks have a charge that is associated with going to the ATM. Not to mention, if you decide that you're going to use another bank's ATM because it's more convenient, then you end up paying 2-3 times the amount. So you have to keep a close eye on your money, guys. You have to keep track of these fees. Cutting out unnecessary expenses will actually help you to save a lot of money each month. So let's quickly talk about some of the money habits that we need to develop. Pay yourself first. Take out money for your savings. Put it in an investment account if you have to. Have a separate bank account, but pay yourself first. Build up on your retirement fund. Increase your deductions. This will not only help you to put more money towards your retirement saving, but it also reduces your taxable income. And try to make it at least the amount that your employer will match. That's like getting free money. Who doesn't want free money, right? Save for the future. Saying things like YOLO or FOMO can make you feel like you need to spend all your money now. But there needs to be a balance. Enjoy your life now, but be sure that you're saving money for the future and working diligently towards your goals. Live below your means. If you're spending more than you earn, at some point, you're going to have to require credit to cover the rest. If you find yourself having to get credit to pay for basic things, then you need to revisit what you're doing. To grow your money and create real wealth, you need to start investing. Invest your money and help to build up and secure your financial future. Last but not least, invest in a critical illness plan, guys. So I'll end by saying, not budgeting your money, combined with bad financial habits, not saving, can leave you vulnerable to unexpected emergencies, living from paycheck to paycheck, not to mention not having enough money for retirement. You can achieve your financial goals. It's just a matter of prioritizing, sticking to your budget, and tracking your spending.
Encourage those around you who have not gotten their vaccine to get it. We all need to be protected for each of us to feel protected. It's a one for all for one type of scenario. Don't use the side effects to discourage others. Because I've had the vaccine myself. It is your body building the protection against the virus. And so interpret the side effects as a positive thing. Don't use the side effects to not take the second dose. To achieve the full protection, you need the second dose.
What you can, where you can, to restore our ecosystems and preserve our environment. We owe it to ourselves as Jamaicans and to ourselves as global citizens.
The National Road Operating and Constructing Company, NROC, has responded to that call, planting trees across Jamaica. And just recently, those activities took NROC to Hope Village in Manchester. NROC's 30,000 Trees in 4 Years initiative began in January 2021. Since then, the program has been gaining support from communities in which NROC operates. As the government entity responsible for the establishment, development, financing, operation and maintenance of tolled highways, NROC has bases across the island. That includes Highway 2000, where extension work is currently being done on the east-west leg between Maypen in Clarendon and Williamsfield in Manchester.
When you do a highway, you remove fruit trees from farms, and between Milk River and Williamsfield, we would have gone through a number of farms, remove cash crops and some fruit trees. So we thought that it would be good to give back to the farmers fruit trees to replace what we take out. And where we have open plots like this one, we would now put a program in place to do a blitz, as we call it, to plant trees.
The latest location chosen is the Hope Village community, which is adjacent to the Melrose Bypass Road. Home to an inactive fruit orchard, Hope Village was the ideal partner for the tree planting exercise. 400 assorted fruit trees, including ackee, apple, June plum, sweet tamarind and guava, were used to replenish the orchard.
As an association, we are extremely grateful because we believe not only music is the staff of life, but food also is the staff of life. And we are so very happy that they were able to partner with us and to take this fruit trees planting a step further than the few we had.
So it's a partnership and we're doing very well in terms of a community space, and the highway will impact this community very closely because it's close by.
Members of the Highway 2000 family also chipped in, including Stanley Consultants Limited, China Harbour Engineering Company, and Jamaica Infrastructure Operators.
So the Prime Minister, your card, had given us a charge to plant 3 million trees over the next 3 years. And so this is our part. Today, the people that have come with us, the team today, will plant about 6 trees per person. So we're well on the way.
The Rotaract Club of the University of the West Indies Mona campus also joined in on the tree planting exercise. This is their second such involvement, and by all indications, the partnership will continue.
Environmental awareness, environmental advocacy is one of the major areas of focus for Rotary International. For us, participating in an event like this is just natural.
Environmental stewardship is one of the big things internally for us, where we seek to maintain environmental balance. So as we try to incorporate a new environmental standard into our overall standards, we're ISO 9001 company, and we're going to incorporate this year ISO 14001, which looks at environmental management. So that is part of it. This is part of that exercise to support how NROC operates as stewards of the environment.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow and we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.